lot of cards.
And you have painted.
And I have painted.
I'm sorry, I couldn't go on you.
I'm sorry.
Well, I go to the hospital, I leave the hospital next year.
Still waiting. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Somebody over there.
But
you could be here and stay. Yeah. I also have a pretty flexible schedule.
Oh,
Paintings. Yeah, instead of a chair.
thanks.
I would like to sit right here.
Grandma's is good.
There you go.
Something with the weather.
Is it gonna rain this weekend? Yeah. I don't think it's gonna rain during the workshop.
It's warm, but not hot.
Here comes your mom.
It's one cute baby.
It's hard to put her down.
I know, I don't take my hands off her. She has her own beads.
We have to find the kids. She's teething.
Oh, yeah, everything's good.
She's almost 5. There's 5 girls in our family.
And let's hear it for girls.
Yeah, that is good. I just like this. I can't. My mom. Your grandmother right now. So I guess.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, you got it. It's a pretty lovely crowd.
Paula made it. Wow. I'll watch microphone.
Okay, and then the other thing is, this is your slide clickers. So to move it forward. Yeah, I was next to this, but move it forward. And to go back. Tomorrow. And then.
You good right here? Ready?
Welcome, everyone. Can you hear me? Yep. So nice to have you all here. My name is Abby, and I work for the library. And before we turn it over to our special guest, I just wanted to welcome you tonight and say if any of you are interested in signing up for our mailing list, I encourage you to stop by the circulation desk. We have a lot of fun things happening this fall. We are having a Comic-Con in a couple weeks, and it's not just for kids. And we have a special comic book artist coming to help us learn to make comic books together for all ages. So that's one of many things that are happening this fall as we continue with our year of storytelling through pictures, through comics, through writing, through sharing stories aloud. So there's going to be events ongoing throughout the year, and we would love for you to be a part of it. So thank you for being here. I'm going to turn it over to Anna.
Welcome to Foothill Arts Lectures.
This series was developed to reconnect members of our community, celebrate our artists' accomplishments, highlight our local artists, and bring enriching perspectives and stories into our lives. This Mariposa County Library program is funded by Mariposa County and an Arts Council facilitated grant program that the county and the Board of Supervisors developed. After this lecture, if you would like to speak on camera about this program and why it's meaningful to you and our community, please talk to Andra. She's waving. Before we begin, please check that your devices are on silent. When I first met Ursula, I was struck by how kind and generous she was. She instantly offered her time, skills, and energy to our group of teaching artists. She was open and personal with everyone, old and new friends alike. Her loving and accepting personality creates a very positive and comfortable environment, which is a wonderful asset in a group. Ursula has invited me to many tribal events, ceremonies, and family dinners, and it's this inclusiveness that is one of her trademarks. She shares her knowledge of the traditional ways with all who ask. If you have an opportunity to learn from Ursula, I highly recommend it. The basket weaving workshop associated with this lecture immediately sold out within hours, but Ursula will have more local weaving, basket weaving opportunities. Another trademark of Ursula is her deep love for her family. A discussion about Ursula and her art cannot be told without discussing her family. Her family is interwoven into her art and cannot be separated. As you'll learn in this lecture, Ursula's family is outstanding. From her great-great-grandmother, Lucy Tellis, to her grandmother, Dr. Julia Parker, to her mother, Lucy Parker, to her daughter, Naomi Jones, to her granddaughter, Esha. She is a part of a long lineage of talented basket weavers and powerful women. I've asked Ursula what basketry means to her. Is it just about baskets or is it deeper? Ursula told me that baskets were made to be used and that baskets with decoration were made later to be sold. However, in our discussions, it became clear to me that basketry is about more: family, ancestors, community gathering, seasonal rituals, stewardship and working with the land, sharing knowledge, skills, time, and stories with the younger generations. It's an art that creates a product with utility, but like most art forms, it transcends its primary purpose. One of Ursula's powerful relatives, Essie Parish, a healer, leader, and basket weaver of the Kashaya Pomo Indians, was quoted as saying, "The things we do, they speak of who we are, the families we're from, and about our relatives too. We are not just one person, we are many. In just one, there is a whole tribe, and our ancestors too." Ursula is not just one person, she is also her outstanding family, ancestors, and tribes. And with that, let's give a round of applause for Ursula Jones.
My name is Ursula Min-ne-ah Jones. I would like to ask my grandmother to do a little blessing before and a little song before I begin. Could you say a little blessing? A blessing. Okay. Grandmother, grandfather, and to all of the friends that we have here today. We're just all so thankful to be able to see and hear and listen to the words of our people as we sit here and think about our own self. Yoreke, hide santi dankwa. Yoreke, hide musa dankwa.
May you travel home in peace and harmony and arrive safely to your family. Yahweh, thank you. Yahweh, 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 Yahweh. Kemalis, 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 Kemalis. Thank you. The end.
Thank you, Grandma. All right, well, I would like to thank everybody for coming to hear me give my little speech. This is my first time talking without my grandmother or my mother right by my side. So I'm usually just the sidekick here, but I'm really honored to be here, and I hope I can give you a little bit of my story. I'm really kind of nervous, so I hope I get all loosened up and not so stiff here. But so my name is Ursula Min-ne-ah Jones. Min-ne-ah means beautiful meadow. I was born in a meadow in Yosemite National Park in 1972 in the winter. I was blessed and raised to be part of the Ahwahneechee tribe, the Coast Miwok tribe for my grandmother, the Kashaya, Pomo, and the Monolith Kuzedika tribe. I was raised with 4 tribes that I have to carry on my culture with. And sorry, I'm getting nervous now. So I'm going to go this slide. But growing up in Yosemite, I got the opportunity to be around all of our culture. My grandmother, Julia, spent most of her life learning about all of our culture, our heritage. And so I was immersed in it. I was in Indian days wearing my native regalia. I'm not sure if any of you went up to the Indian days up in Yosemite National Park where we do our traditional dancing. So I got to dance alongside of my grandmother. And I was growing up, sorry, I'm nervous. Okay. So growing up in Yosemite, I was with my grandmother, Julia Parker, quite a bit. She raised me. So she was a basket weaver, and I would sit on her lap and watch her weave. When I was little, I just sat there, and I was only able to watch. And this basket you see right here, which I did not bring, is my Easter basket. Yeah, I got to carry that around when I was little. So grandmother, she worked in the National Park Service. So our babysitter we got to sit under the bear rug. And people would see the bear rug move, and it would be us under there. My brothers. Yeah. So we were, as infants, we were carried in our cradle board. So that's where we first get our first. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm really nervous. First time without mom and grandma. But we were carried in cradle boards, and so that's how we get our first feeling of the fibers of baskets. Of the willow. Baby baskets, I don't think my mom brought one, but baby baskets are made out of the willow. And so they held us, they keep our back straight, and they keep us feel safe. I wish we would have brought Kashaya. Here's another photo of me dressed in my full regalia when we were little dancing in the roundhouse. Another photo of me sitting in my grandmother's lap in the Cultural Museum. So I've been really immersed with my grandmother and all the things that she's learned, and then now I am a carrier of that as well. So I'm learning. I'm still a little student. Here's me gathering willows in Yosemite Valley, where we're not really allowed to gather as much because it's a national park. But sometimes they do. We can sneak off into the tules and off into the brush and then go gather our tules. And then here's my grandma, Lucy Tellis. She is one of the oldest well-known weavers. She weaved that basket. That basket actually used to sit on my grandmother's fridge back in the old Indian village. That's who my grandmother, Julia Parker, learned from. So I'm 5th generation weaver, so I have a lot to look up to, a lot to do. And this basket, I'm not sure how long it took her to weave, but I'm pretty sure I heard Grandma, how long was it? For 5 years or more. But to weave a basket like this, there's lots to do. You have to gather, you have to cure your material, you have to gather your material at certain times of the season. So it takes a long process to become a master weaver. And back in the olden days, Grandma Lucy, this was back in the 1930s, so she had time to sit, gather, and be able to make this. Because a lot of people go, how long does it take to make a basket? And they're like, well, let's see if we can go through the process of the gathering, of the curing, and then when to put it to organizing and how to put the basket together. And people ask, do you count sticks? No, we don't. We feel the fiber. You make friends with the fiber. And you get to know what your basket needs, when to gather the material, and it just leads you. It's beautiful. I love it. But Grandma Lucy, so this basket sat, like I said, on my grandma's fridge because it needed to be cold, so it kept it cold and perfect. So, but now it's in the museum and it's not in our property anymore. There's quite a few baskets that we have in our family's collection that were given away, and we no longer, as well as my grandma's. They're just in archives, and they are. Here's Grandma Julia out gathering her willows when she was younger. And then my mom, Lucy Parker, she's the third generation. So was Grandma Lucy, Julia, and my mother, Lucy Parker. She is the next in line behind Grandma, and she's the master weaver who I am studying from. So she's usually the one here talking, and I'm usually standing right by her. But today's my day. She said, you need to shine, Urs. So I'm starting to feel a little better. But so we were honored to be able to go to Norway. One of the Norwegian students, he's deeply involved in basketry in Norway, and he found grandmother online, of course, because she's all over the Wikipedia and all that stuff. But he found her, and he came to our class in Yosemite. He actually came for acorn making class because we teach acorn making, mush making, and basketry as well. But he came for the acorn class. He stayed for the next week and did basketry, and he said, we're going to invite you back to Norway. We didn't believe it. 2 years later, he calls up and says, we have tickets for you to come back. Would you like to come back for 14 days and learn how to weave the Norwegian style? And we said, yes. We all loaded a plane, all of us. Yeah, when we come in hordes. The Parker Jones family is huge. So if you want us to come somewhere, yes, we're all there. But anyways, my mom is weaving the Norwegian style here, and they weave totally different than we weave. They weave opposite, and they use birch root. So it was kind of a challenge for us, but we had fun at it. And then here's one of the baskets that I made. I made it over. We used to travel to the Herd Museum quite a bit in Phoenix, Arizona. Has anyone been to Phoenix to the Herd Museum? Yeah, that museum is amazing. But I made a basket when we were out there, and one of the collectors bought 4 of our baskets. My grandmother's basket, my mother's basket, my basket. I think he got one from Naomi when she was little. Naomi's a weaver as well. But so I made this basket all out of willow. Then I ended up selling it, and I don't remember who I sold it to, so it'd be nice to find it. see where it went. But so this is my husband, Boone, and I. And Naomi, and this is Naomi, the 4th generation weaver. And we got a chance to go up with the Balance Rock to teach a class up in the Golden Trout Wilderness. So I hiked out basket material, and we got to weave out there. But there's a picture of Naomi showing her masterpiece basket. She's a better weaver than I am. But so this is a basket made out of tule, and it's green tule because we gathered it a little bit too soon, but it was the time of the season and the year we needed, but she made a beautiful basket out of that. And then here's the cradle board I was speaking about earlier. We're all raised when we're all brand newborn. We get in the little cradle board, and that keeps us quiet, keeps our back straight, and keeps us in line. We should have brought ashes, but my mom actually got this cradle board from one of our friends because I have not made a cradle board yet. So it'd be nice next baby. I'll make a cradle board. But so this is Esha and her little cradle board, the 5 of us there. We're really happy to have the next generation weaver to keep carrying on our culture because it's very important to us. When I was younger, my grandma never taught me she never made me want to learn. I just sat with her like I spoke earlier. I just sat with her, and it just came to me natural how I wanted to be a part of carrying on the basketry, making the acorn mesh, and doing. I love it. It's like it comes out of me. There's no words to explain how I'm honored to have my grandma Julia spend her life traveling and learning the old ways that were lost, like dog bane string that she taught us, and different little things that grandma spent her life that were lost. The only thing we don't have is our language. we're bringing the language back. So right now I live over in Bishop, and they have a language class, but it's a different Paiute dialect than the Monolek dialect, because there's a lot of dialects of language in California. But the language is something that I would like to get myself, get to know a little bit more. And then here is us at the Ahwahneechee. Everyone has to have their famous Ahwahneechee photos with that. But it just shows you how family is with me. My daughter is my best friend. And here, this photo is us when we go to archives a lot. So we travel around going to archives, and this basket is made by, I believe it was 8 Pomo women in a whole family of generations of weavers. And Pomo is anyone familiar with Pomo tribes? So the Pomo tribes are over on the coastal range from San Francisco up. And there's many Pomos, but we are the Kashaya Pomo and Coast Miwok. But this was made by Pomo women, a whole generations of the family with the design. So the one grandma started it and just kept passing it on to the next generation. And we were at the archives and we got a chance to see this. And then Naomi got a chance to sit in it.
Oh.
Yeah. So you can see the fine detail. If the picture is better, you can see the stitches are real close. But so that's Grandma Mom. You can see who it is. And then we like to do a lot of we like to go to the Mariposa Parade. Grandma always likes to do that every year. I'm not sure if you guys have seen us in the parade, but yes, so this is us in our full regalia. And we call it regalia. It's not our costume. It's what we honor ourselves wearing. So this is my apple line, and we honor it. So a lot of people go, is that a costume? We're like, no, it's not a costume. We're not looking at your clothes saying, is that a costume? No, we're not. Sorry. Okay, so this is us in the parade, and then us at Point Reyes. We've got a lot of photos because we travel around teaching all over California. So we went to Norway to teach. We've been to Washington, D.C. We've been so many different places. It's hard to say. And a lot of the museums. I should have wrote down the museums. We got the opportunity. The 4 of us got the opportunity to go to the Randall Museum in San Francisco and pick a whole collection that they had of basketry. So we got to see so many different styles of basketry. Remember, Naomi? And we got to pick the whole collection, and then they had a big show with us there with the baskets we picked. And it was really an honor to be able to go there and to see archives. It's an honor to do that because there are a lot of the times the baskets are just ignored and left in the archives. And you have to wear gloves when you're in the archive because they put all kinds of like formaldehyde and stuff on there. And so it's fun to go. If you ever get a chance, maybe they might let you in the Yosemite archive. I'm not sure. But yeah, if you're interested. Do we have basket weavers here? Anyone basket weavers? No? Is it? Okay, yeah, Paula. Okay, so on to the next. So here's what Grandma got the National Endowment of the Arts, the fellowship. She got that around maybe 15 years ago, but we got the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. We actually went twice that year because Grandma was getting awards back to back to back. So we were traveling quite a bit. But this is us again showing what we do as a family. So the 4 of us watching Naomi learning from Grandma, me learning with my mom, and then there's just us on the stage when the guy was asking us questions. But it just shows that we've been quite a few places and involved in our art, and it's something that I'm looking up to. So this is my first talk, so thank you for being here, like I said. And the next, I'll be up on the stage, so just going for it. And then our next photo of my friend Anna. We have this down here. Has anyone seen this down here on the walk? Okay, yeah. So it just shows you there's a lot of artists that pick our family, I believe, because we're basket weavers and we're carriers of our culture and our traditions, and people really honor that, and it is lost. And so for me, it's an honor when someone says, "Can we paint your photo?" Yes. And then I like how Anna.
Oh, this is Abby.
Abby, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. We did it together.
Yeah, and then I like how they did my 11. So Oh, I didn't mention today. Is anyone wondering about my 311s? Okay, so I should have, well, I'll tell you now. So these 311s are a long time ago when girls came of age, they would get them. So around 13 or 14. So when they're coming from a young girl to a woman. So they don't do that anymore, but they're making a comeback. And for me, so I have 4 dots for my 4 tribes, and the squiggles are for water, because I'm the water tribe, and the straight line is for my Miwok. So I wear these in honor of my culture and tradition, because I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud to be a carrier of our culture. And I'm very honored that my grandma's a basket weaver, and I will continue and I will help teach. Like Anna said, I like to teach people, and it's that's where I shine. Teaching this. So, okay, so we're going to go to the next one. So here's Kim Jacobson. This is who invited us back to Norway. And then this is one of the eldest Norwegian weavers who we got a chance to meet from, and we got to teach her our style of basketry. So we did a cultural exchange. And then we got to teach a group of women that only spoke Norwegian and barely a little bit of English. So we did it. Everybody made a basket. And we used their willow. But this is birch root that we did, and you can see the stitching is completely different than what we do here in California. But we all walked away with the basket, and it was really fun to be able to learn how to do the Norwegian style. Yeah, Kim is awesome. He's also a teacher. And then here's Naomi, grandmother, and I. I'm missing some photos, but this is when we were at the rancheria making acorn mush, because we make acorn mush also. And you can see I'm wearing my same dress grandmother made by hand. And Naomi when she was younger. And then here's a picture of the black oak. So like I said, how we make our acorn mush. We do acorn mush the old way. We make it, you can see grandma's pounding the black oak. And the rock, and we call it pounding, not grinding, because acorn black oak gets like, if you pound it, if you grind it, it gets like peanut butter. It's sticky. So we want it to be more of a flour. So that's why we pound it. We drop the rock. So that's a whole other process that we could talk about on another time, because that's another whole story. But Grandma has a book on it, so if you want to look. But so there's the. And then another thing that we've done as a family, we went and we got to dance at the the Smithsonian of the Native American with the Tuolumne Miwok tribe from over in the Tuolumne County by Black Oak Casino. So we danced there in full regalia. It was during Christmas time. So I danced traditional. You can see us wearing our top knots, our batsawis, and our feathers. So we got a chance to dance in front of a whole group of people honoring for the Christmas time. And then Grandma got to speak to also at the Smithsonian, and I believe she was doing a blessing there for the honoring before we dance, because we like to do blessings and like the little songs before we do any kind of speaking, just to honor and let the spirits know that we're here, we honor and respect them. And here's some of the dancers, the men dancing, and this is the flicker feather. I'm sure all of you have seen the flickers. And then here's just more of the things I like to do. I like to go to conferences for Native Americans and get involved in things like that. And I like health and wellness for our people, because a lot of the times, people, they're not as healthy. They get in the wrong ways. And I want to be a healthy person and be able to be a mentor for the youth and help the youth. So I like to go to a lot of conferences. And this time I got to go by myself. And the two ladies on the end standing by me are very prominent women in our culture who do a lot of speaking. And they're women I look up to, and they're leaders in their tribes. And here's me in my regalia. And this is my batsawi. This is what we dance when we dance traditional. This is my traditional wear. Do you have a question?
These are not flicker feathers.
Oh, the last ones were.
Yes, but what kind of feathers are these?
These ones, I think they're hawk. Yeah, I believe Craig Bate. Do you familiar with Craig Bate? He made, yeah. So this is called a batsawi, but they can make it out of different kinds of feathers. I was going to bring mine, but I didn't. Yeah. Yeah, but I believe those are either hawk. Yeah. But the last one's that the men were wearing. Yes, yeah. And then this is Essie Parish, my grandmother's aunt, who Anna spoke of earlier. She was from the Kashaya Pomo tribe, and she's a healer, a medicine woman, and a sucking doctor. So she can heal you. So I come from a line of healers, and that's something that's really important to me, is helping other people in healing and being a caregiver. But she was very, very knowledgeable in the language, and she is the Kashaya Pomo. And you can see her greatness in there. That's something I need to strive for too. And then here's more photos of me. So I'm very involved, like I said, with the wellness and different things that are important to our culture that, a lot of people don't know about, but murdered missing Indigenous women is something that really wears on my heart, because there's a lot of girls that go unknown or not, or male. So I do a lot of hikes and walks and just get immersed in, or be a part of doing things like that. It's important for me because there's a lot of young girls out there that we don't even know where have gone. And being a Native American woman, I want to stand proud and help my culture and keep everyone healthy and happy. So we did a spiritual walk with the girls. And this picture here on the left is when I did Army Pass with Balance Rock. So I was really proud. And so I said, take my photo so I can honor my people and be proud of hiking up this really hard hill. But it was one of my best times. Here's a photo of Naomi and I looking in the archives. Like I said, when she was young, we like to teach when, we don't push Naomi to do things. She gets involved herself. And it's very interesting when you get to go into the archives and see everything. And then here's when we were at the Heard Museum, Grandma Lucy's baskets, another collection. So like I already said before, we get to go see collections of baskets. And these are all the baskets that were taken from the Yosemite Cultural Museum that were shipped all the way to the Heard Museum in Arizona that were on display. And so we just like to take pictures of the designs, and I personally have not made a basket with a design like that, but just to, learn how to see what they did, see the fibers they used. It's really amazing to think like these baskets were used is anyone familiar with the Indian field days? Yeah, so the Indian field days is when the women would make baskets to sell. So the designs would be very popular. So a lot of these, you can see how Grandma Lucy did a lid on them, so they would stand out more. So they would sell, and you can see the designs. In her designs, a lot of the designs have different meanings, and I'm not sure of all the meanings of them, but you can see. So on my tattoo here, I got this tattoo, and it's the stars in Paiute. So I like to look at different baskets and then get them on my arm. And then here's another one with the lid, and this is another one of Grandma Lucy's famous baskets. And it's just fun for us as basket weavers to look and see like how they did the start and what, like I said already, what fibers. But this is just another photo that we took, and you can see in the back there's just more pictures. Do you have a question? This is at the Heard Museum in Arizona, Phoenix. Yeah.
What kind of technique is this?
This is called coiling. This kind of technique. Yeah, there's many. So I was going to speak on that in a little bit too after I do my slides. If we had time. We brought some baskets too that I just will like to do a little talk about, and then if everyone wants to come and look. But we'll finish our slideshow and then we'll get into that. And then here's Naomi looking at the baskets, more of Grandma Lucy's baskets. You can see she always liked to do the butterfly, and then she liked to do like this kind of zigzag stitch. For some reason that really stood out to her. So it could have had, I'll have to look into that for the meeting. Yeah, the lid. That's what you can always know, like if you're into looking at baskets, if you see anything at auction, some of the baskets pop up in auction, and you'll know to Lucy tell us if it has the lid. Then, yeah, to let our family know that maybe they'll donate it.
Do they sign their baskets in some
You know
way?
what? Some of the times they'll do a bead in there or a stitch. Like they'll make like a stitch different, so that everyone knows it's their basket. Or a bead, like a certain bead. Or I think Grandma Lucy, like she'll do an off stitch where you can see she added. Yeah, I believe so. But Grandma always did a red bead. So if you know, see Julia Parker, it's a red. And then more pictures of us looking at different kinds of baskets. I believe this one was a yarn basket that we saw. Because a long time ago, the natives, the Indian people, they would weave with what the non-Indians would bring. Like they would weave with yarn, or they would use the beads. Because before, like Anna said, that baskets were utilitarian for us. Like we didn't have our Walmart and all of that, so we'd make our baskets. So we'd use them for everything, for cooking. And then here's another Pomo style basket that's just been in the archive. And so it's just nice to get the baskets out and get them out into the air, and then know, because they're, to me, baskets they're my friends. And, it's important for them. They're just sitting there and no one touches them. And it's kind of sad in a weird sense, if you understand. But so it's just an honor to hold a basket that was made a long time ago that hasn't been out. So we're just proud to do that. Another basket. This is another Pomo style basket. And you can just see the fine stitches. And this one looks like it's twine technique. So is anyone taking the class on Saturday? Okay, yeah, we're going to be learning the twining technique. But twining is one of the oldest techniques. Like twining is used in all other European baskets, all other African baskets. So twining is one of the oldest techniques. And so a lot of the baskets were made with twining. And then you can see this is made with sedge root. And sedge is a fiber that grows down in the sand. So there's different kinds of materials that I'll talk about a little bit after we get done with the slideshow. Or if you have questions. And then more baskets, and then there's a Grandma Lucy basket on the left. And this is a Julia Parker basket. Another Julia Parker basket. Lucy Tellis. And so we were up in the Yosemite archives, and then we got a chance to go see our grandmother's baskets. And then Grandma said she didn't remember making that. Yeah. So it's just fun to be able to see that. And you can see here, so what she used, this is California redbud. And I think bracken fir is the dark color. So you can, and this one is also bracken fir. And then the sedge root.
Are those coiled?
Yes, they're coiled. This one's twined.
Oh, that's.
Yeah, she did a certain kind of twine stitch in that. And then this one is coiled, and that's like the canoe shape.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then Grandma Lucy's down there. And then here's us over at June Lake gathering material, because gathering is a part of being a weaver. So, you have to learn how to gather. So over at June Lake, tulies used to grow abundant like this, but now they don't. So I'm not sure why. But so we like to gather over the June Lake, East Side area. And I brought tulies to work with for us on Saturday. But you can see us as a whole family. The whole Parker clan is out there. I'm holding Parker. You can see right here. He's gathering as a baby. Learning how to gather. Does anyone have questions or anything?
Do men weave too?
Men weave too, yes. So men make bird traps and fish traps. They weave baskets that take life, and women weave baskets that, because we give life. Yeah, so there's a lot of rules when you're as a weaver. Thank you. Does anyone have a question now or no? Okay. And then here's me gathering. This is me the other day gathering some really good willow and mammoth that I brought too. But it's just fun to be a weaver. And right now is the time to gather the willow in the wintertime when everything's starting to get dormant. So there's different seasons when we gather certain materials. So, you have a question?
When do you gather redbud?
Redbud is in the wintertime also, when the leaves fall off. You know how in the River Canyon, you're from here? So the River Canyon, when it's all budded out, you wait till winter, whenever the leaves fall off, when it goes to sleep. Do you weave?
No.
And then here's a basket I forgot at home. That's the willow I was gathering in the previous picture. But that willow is really good. The fiber just really bent, and it was just so beautiful to work with. I was just like all excited sitting outside. And once you get into the weaving groove and you get to make friends with your plants, it's really fun to work. And at first, like everything, it's like you're frustrated and it gets hard. You're like, why? But then once you make friends, like Grandma taught me, and you just fall in love, and then it's just like the goodness. And then here's us. There's Boone. He's the gatherer. We got our boys are the gatherers. We get them out there. But so we were gathering sedge root with our family. Yeah, so we were digging down into the dirt. In the sedge root, you have to watch out for S's. And that's S-N-A-K-E. I don't say the word still. I was taught ever since I was little not to. There's a lot of words I remember I spell out. I was like, oh, you're weird. But no, just how I was raised. But yeah, so I was all proud of my hawk tattoo there. Does anyone have any questions or anything? Or just good? So here's us. That's my cousin Allison. She's a fellow weaver. And so we were laughing because we were like our faces down in the dirt and we're just all digging in there, pulling out. And when you pull out a really long sedge root, it's fun because there's like, if you're good, you can pull a long one out. But it takes practice like everything. With weaving, it takes time and practice. So you got to start, when we're young. And I'm still learning. I'm still always going to be learning. Yeah. Like my grandma's probably got it all. Okay, and then so this is more photos of us because we really do travel a lot and demonstrate as a family. And here's Naomi wearing this dress. This dress has been around since Naomi's 30. It's been around since she was 3 months, right? Yeah. Yeah, so you can see us teaching, gathering. And then here's when I got the opportunity to go to Golden Trout Wilderness, like I spoke of already, teaching the students. We packed out material. We just had a really fun day, and there's it was called the Women of Color. So there's women from all different, people coming out. And we had a really good day. We walked away with a little tule basket and did a song. And then the next day we got a chance to do some dog bane string. So that was another fun thing that we got to do. And more of us, we were here at the Mariposa, the Butterfly Festival, I believe, just demonstrating because like I said already, here's a basket. I can't remember if I made that or if Mom made that. But so this is a quick willow basket. Like right now, like I already said, that we could gather the willow. Another shot of that. And here's what I taught for the balance rock. And we got a chance to sit by the creek, which was super cool because we had the water. Because the tule, is anyone familiar with tule? Yeah, you've seen tules? Yeah. So tule is a fiber. It's a rush. It likes to have its feet in water. So it was nice to have that because we let the tule dry. We give it a suntan after we gather it. And then it dries out. We need to make it pliable. So we need to have water for it. But tule is a good fiber. They make boats, skirts. We've even seen shoes. Yeah, they're just bringing back. There's a bunch of tribes over in the northern coast, the Pomo way, but they're learning how to make boats again because they used to make boats out of the tule fiber. But you need the thick tule. But they just had races, so they had categories young to old. They asked me to come and do it, but I didn't get a chance to. Yeah, so it'd be nice. So here's where I taught for my crew, the Balance Rock, who I love a lot. I get to do all kinds of fun programs with them. And then here is a basket. So this is what we are going to be doing. This is the start of a tule basket. And then here, I'm going to pass this around, and then you guys could pass that to me. And so this right here is tule, and this is the fiber that is right here. And tule, like I said, likes its feet in the water. And that one's like an old tule basket, and that technique is called twining. And so this start right here is how we start mini baskets. So you would take your strings and your spokes, And that's the beginning. You can see here at the bottom of the basket. I'll show you real quick. So this is that right here. Yeah, so you can see this is the start of it. Let's see, just pass that around. Just if you want it, you don't have to touch it if you don't want it. And then so here's how we progress along. And this is this technique, right? Like I said a million times, is twining. And twining is one of the oldest ways.
Put your microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, so another photo. And then you can see that girls, I had about, I think, 3 girls that were doing the baskets. You can see their baskets. Everyone got to walk away, with a piece of work. And that's what I like when I like to teach. It's fun. I like to teach. It's one of my favorite things, I think, is being able to teach and then help people learn something that's really important to me. Yeah. And then here's the girls working through the whole process. You can see her basket work. And then she added a 3-string. That's called 3-strand twining. So there's different ways you can put a basket together. Oh, that's me, my tattoo. Does anyone have questions or anything? No? Okay. Yeah, so you can see us work more with and then these books mean a lot to me. If you there's a lot of you do you all live around here or familiar with the area? Well, Craig Bates and Martha Lee, they got together and collabed on this really great book, which I have over here. That is the history of the Yosemite and Mono Lake, which shows you different techniques of twining and then different ways to put a basket together. So that book is pretty much like a Bible to us in a sense, because they really delved into learning about all the ladies who are weavers in our culture. So it was pretty nice to have people, care about stuff like that. And then Scrape the Willow to the Sings, you can see what that is. It's Julia Parker. And that's another book that it's the story of Grandma's life, and it's written by Deborah, who met Grandma when she was 7 years old, and then wrote a book about our grandmother and her life, and then we're in there a little bit. So when you guys, if you get a chance to, after the whole program, you can come and look at the baskets, and you're welcome to look at the books. And then here's myself teaching in Cultureville. This is my first class that I got to teach by myself. So I'm on the road doing a lot of things by myself, so which is good. It's good, but so I got a chance to teach. I think I had 25 students.
Oh,
Yeah, because a lot of people. So people wanted to keep joining, and then my friend Willow, who put it on, kept adding people because she was like, "Oh, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay." And then next thing I knew, I'm by myself going, "Wow!" But I did it, and then everybody walked away. It was kind of chaotic for a little bit, but then we got into the groove. That everybody was patient, so then it worked out. So this is my first class I got to teach, and then there was a lot of what's neat for me is when there's a lot of the other Native people from around the area come and learn, and we do an exchange. And so here's me showing Thule and then talking about basketry. Mom showed up finally at the end, and then baskets again. And then we do at the end of the class, I like to do a basket dance. It's always just an honoring to our baskets and our ancestors and our culture. And it's always fun for everybody. People like to join in and dance. I mean, who doesn't like to dance, right? Yeah. So, and then more of the people, you can see how I had all kinds of people in there, but everybody looks happy, right? Yeah. So it's, yeah, it was fun. And then more teaching, and these ladies are from, I believe, down in on the coastal range. But they brought a whole, 4 of the sisters all came together to learn.
Oh,
Yeah, it was pretty neat because I had never met them. Then they saw my name and they associated me with Grandma, and so then yeah. And I think, is that it?
I think that's it.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, does anyone have any questions or anything?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm curious about willow. How you know which willow is the one that you would collect, and then what happens after you collect it before it becomes a basket?
Well, so the willow, when we gather the willow, we like to gather in the winter time, and we like the long, straight shoots. And then it depends on if you're going to use it for your to stitch, to twine with. So you want to get the right diameters. Like you want to get the long, straight ones for your base of the basket. So it just depends. And you want to have everything organized, your strings. Does that answer your question? Yes.
I always think of willow as a tree.
Oh, so there's the willow plants. Yes, yes. You have willow plants probably all around here or in the River Canyon. We're up in Yosemite area, yeah. I might gather willow tomorrow, so.
So Ursula,
Yes.
is this tule or is this willow?
Yeah, this is tule.
This is
Yeah. Yeah, tule, so we use tule a lot when we teach our classes because a lot of people's hands aren't strong enough for the willow and like all the other fibers. And coiling is the next step. So tule is just a really good fiber for people to get strong and learn how to do the technique because it takes a lot to be a master weaver, and it's steps and processes. You can't just go right from nothing to doing coiling. You need to learn the rules. You need to learn when to gather. There's a whole process of becoming a weaver, and I feel like you're always. I'm sure Grandma's still learning. Okay. Does anyone have questions? Yes, Joy.
Well, I still know that you use the less common fibers that are used, and is there one that's harder to use?
The less common fibers.
Yeah.
I say probably the bracken fern root. It's like, so the one thing with woods like that, with bracken fern or the redbud, you need to you can soak them. Like they can be old fibers, and then you soak them, and then they soak it up the water, and they're like building a house, I guess you could say. And then they get pliable. Because I think Grandma's got fibers that are really, really old. Like I heard Grandma Lucy was old, but I'm not sure if that's true. But anyways, you can let them sit and dry out. Does that answer your question? But I would say bracken fern and redbud and sedge root. They're hard fibers. Sedge root's it's really easy to strip really thin, and you could wreck it. And you have to be like the master of cleaning it. And so there's another process of learning how to clean it. Like a lot of times the ladies started using tin cans, so their fiber would be all the same, but that's cheating. And then the old way you use your obsidian. So that's, yeah, it's fun. I like it. I like to do baskets and stuff. I hope that answered your question. Yeah. Does anyone else have anything? Yes?
I think the tule you also use the roots.
The tule. Well, you can. I just read that the Indian people, the natives, used to eat the tule because it tastes like potato. But the tule, we just use the stalk. Yeah. But I did actually read that. Yeah. Have you seen tule? Is there tule? I heard there's tule out at Triangle. Is it Lush Meadows? The lake out there. But I heard it's locked up, so I'm not really sure. Yeah. Does anyone else have any questions? Yes?
Do you ever get really inspired to do a certain basket and then you go out and gather the materials, or how does your making practice, like how does that work?
What do I get?
Like,
well, so for me, when I do, like right now it's willow season.
Okay.
So I'm pretty excited about going and getting really good willow. Like the other day when we were gathering our willow, I got all excited. That's why I made how do you go back? This little basket.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like when I'm making a basket, I think it's mainly like when the time of the season is.
Okay.
The fibers, like you can see, because of willow baskets, you can, and then there's another process, there's splitting of the willow, but right now you could do a quick willow basket, like something like that. So we could just go out and gather and then put that together. And then sedge root, here I'll go forward a little more. So this basket, sorry. Yeah, so this willow was just gathered and then I just put that together. So
To get seasonally inspired by the materials.
yeah, I think so. And then sedge root, like So just it's a big process. It takes time and you need to just sit down and then work with the material to weave and quill. It just, you have to have time. I think I don't have time like that. Like for me nowadays, I don't have time to sit like Grandma Lucy did, or like my Grandma Julia got the opportunity to work in Yosemite. So she was every day able to work on with baskets like that. And so that's one thing I sadly don't have time to make something that's, as honorable as that. But I have like a lot of the fiber. I need to step up on that. Yeah.
I work with wood, and it's kind of the same way.
Yeah.
It's like you need to listen with your fingers
Mhm.
and make friends with it
Yeah.
and listen to what it wants.
Yeah.
Or whoops.
Yeah.
What kind of whoops do you get when you don't listen to the
It breaks and then you'll have to repair, like you'll have to stitch it back in. Yeah, and then when you're coiling, my grandma teaches me how when you add the new string. So a lot of tribes you want to be able to not see where you add your string. So if you make a mistake, you want to add the string, or wherever it broke, wherever it compromised, you want to make sure you add it so it doesn't look like anything happened. Yeah, so
I knew there was going to be
yeah.
some.
Yeah, my mom didn't give me any of the coiled baskets, but yeah, so like when they do certain tribes, like the Pomo tribe, you can't see where they added the stitches. And some of the tribes, the Paiute tribes, they do like a cross where they add like this string, like when you're sewing, how people sew? Yeah.
So they make it part of the design.
Yeah, you can see where they added. But some of the tribes that you can't see, and are like, what did they make a mistake, or what they do? And then when they have the designs, how everything's all even and coordinated, you're like, well, it looks like they counted it, but they didn't. Yeah, Grandma always taught me just to make friends with your fiber and take your time and put it down if you're mad, because your basket's going to show, it's going to hold on and carry, be kind and think good thoughts, and if you're not mad, and put it down. Or if I got mad, I'd throw my basket down and then she'd pick it up and fix it. Yeah, but then I'm still learning. But when I was doing certain baskets, she would get my basket and look at it. I'd be all proud, and then she would take it and take the stitch out because it wasn't right. So that's how we learned. And she wouldn't say anything, and you don't say anything back. You just know this. It's more stop, look, and listen is what she always taught us when we were little. Instead of why? Because everybody wants to know why. And you're like, sometimes you don't know why. It's just you feel it. Sometimes it takes, your time just to feel the fiber, or, feel things. Because I went to sweat last night, and so I'm really spiritual, and I really like my culture. And sweat. You just sit in there and you just pray to your ancestors, and things come to you. And I'm a firm believer. I saw a bunch of hawks coming over here. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have a good talk, But I guess I'm a weirdo like that. But I think being raised in Yosemite, we lived in like a lot of silence and stuff. And our fun was hiking and sitting behind my grandma's back, watching her. I used to ski race, but we lived like such a simple little life. I think it made me real hippie and spiritual. And then plus being raised in ceremony and that. But I went to sweat last night, and like my photos here, we saw photos of things I like to do and helping my community and wellness. And that really drives me to be a carrier of basketry and being a healer, because I also do massage, and so I want to carry that on for my children and for my friends. That's why it's important for me to teach and learn. And I'll get to being a good speaker too someday. Like, I remember my grandma said when they first asked her to work in the park, she just put her head down, didn't want to say anything. And then finally somebody said something wrong, and she put her head up, and then she started talking. So this feels good for me to be here. Does anyone else have any questions? Yeah.
How did you get like so engaged when you were a child?
How did I get so
engaged to going with fashion and love and all that?
I think it's just because I just think because I felt it. Like it just felt so good to be sitting by my grandma, like she would hand me a willow and you're just stripping it and cleaning it. And then you just start feeling like it's just something inside of me. And it just made me feel really good. And it makes me feel good to be able to look at all the ancestors and all the ladies of my culture doing things like that. I want to do that, to carry it on and honor them. And it just feels good. It makes me cry. And I'm proud of my daughter. And then now we have our granddaughter. But I think for me, my grandmother spent her whole life and my mom both going, learning. And so I want to fulfill that. And I don't feel like I have to. How sometimes people are, they're like, oh, my mom made me go to school to be a lawyer. And, but I want to be a weaver and I want to carry on and be helpful.
So for you now, what's the meaning of a basket?
The baskets, what I've learned. So for me, baskets are for utilitarian. We cooked in them, we cleaned, and we carried our children. And they're more of like, the baskets, like when I make this, I'm going to think, what can I use it for? And I'm going to use it for that. Rather than, I still want to make a fancy one with beads and all that like I've done. But for me, I think that's what my whole thing is, like just being able to use it. And then, instead of going over to that Walmart. Do you have any more questions? Yep.
I have one. I know that for many Indigenous folks who are practicing, just these traditional life ways that are, utilitarian and like a part of, just your deep traditional craft.
Mm-hmm.
It can be hard to translate it into our, like kind of colonist idea of art and what art is and fine art especially. How do you relate to your own craft as an art versus as just a life way and as like a traditional craft?
Like you said, nowadays it's art. And so I see like a lot of things that people don't understand, that our art, it's traditional and cultural and has meaning. And we have to gather the fibers. We have to go out into the fields. Nowadays we can't go certain spots to go get where grandma's grandma gathered. So for me, and people don't understand that it is an art, like the baskets that we see Grandma Lucy that made, a lot of times people, they go see the basket and, oh, that's great. And then they'll huck it. And then they'll see like a piece of ceramics and they're like, oh, wow, for $5,000. You know what I mean? And not to knock anybody's art, not to say anything bad about that. But for me, I believe that people don't honor or understand it. And that's why it's important for, people to get out and speak. But there's a lot of Native artists who have transferred it from utilitarian to really cool art to, they innovated and it's rad. I saw this girl make a basket out of, what was it? It was like a wire. And it was so cool, and like they're innovators because now you have to innovate to sell your work or you have to do something different. And a lot of people, like I said, they use the tin can to get the perfect string. That's, we don't do that in our family. We do it the natural way because we want to keep it that way. But it's okay to do that because nowadays we have to. Like the gourds, there's so much different stuff that people can't really do the traditional way because you can't get the fibers and it's not seen as art, You have to make it art. Does that answer?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, kind of?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, does anybody else have a question? Yes?
You said earlier that, I think it was last night, you went to sweat and you braided. Can you explain more what going to sweat?
The sweat lodge, so in Yosemite Valley, they used to have sweat was only for men to cleanse their bodies before the hunt because it takes away your whole scent. And then over like in the Navajo traditions and all that, they would sweat just for like your church, like it's our church when you go and you speak to, like I speak to Creator and my ancestors. So in Sweat Lodge, they have hot rocks and it's like steamy in there. And so you kind of get out of body. You go for 4 sets and it's pretty intense singing and you're in there for a good 45 minutes or you don't even know how long until they open the door. And then And then it's praying, it's like our church. Yeah, and it could be spiritual, it could be scary because it's real dark and you can't leave. And then it gets really hot, and sometimes so you just gotta, a lot of the sweat lyrics say you just pray through it, and then just close your eyes and ask the ancestors, and and a lot of times, like, I'm in there to honor my people and my family. I want my family to be safe, so I'm praying for them, just for the strength. And I prayed a lot this last year for myself, and just to be a good person and to grow. And so it's the church for us. Yeah, and over in the Bishop area on the reservation where I live, they have sweats quite a bit. So I'm all on the sweat train, they call it. Yeah, but if you ever get invited to one, you should go, and then there'll be people who can show you the rules, and because different lodges have different ways, but you always wear skirts and dresses. That's one thing my grandma always taught us, is that we always wear skirts and dresses as a lady. I've never seen grandma in jeans, so for real. Yeah. Okay, does anybody have any other questions? No?
Thank you, Ursula.
Thank you. Okay,
Yeah.
I hope that was okay. I'm sorry if I was a little nervous and flew through stuff. Next time it's going to be on tape.
If you want to talk with Andra and say what this program means to you, she'll be available for a quick
And then
video.
everyone's welcome to come look at baskets and ask questions over here if you want. Thank you.